Well, the Golden State Warriors survive a late comeback scare from the Houston Rockets to take a 1-0 lead in this Western Conference matchup. Stephen Curry and Jimmy Butler stepped up to the plate, had a tremendous second half, and they were ultimately able to pull away, taking now home court advantage as we head into game 2 in Houston. Can the Golden State Warriors keep their foot on the gas and continue to close out Houston here? I'm looking at a few different things as we go through the rest of this series. First of all, can Jalen Green answer the call? That was one of the big question marks that I had coming into this series. How would Houston's young core of Şengün, Jalen Green, Amin Thompson, and company really rise to the occasion of going up against two sensational playoff performers in Stephen Curry and Jimmy Butler with all of the postseason experience in the world? Well, Şengün answered the call. He had a tremendous game. He dropped 26 points, 9 rebounds, and he was really active on the defensive side of the ball. But for Jalen Green, he did not have his best game. 3 for 15 shooting, 0 for 4 from beyond the arc, only had 7 points. Amin Thompson was efficient, but for Jalen Green, he has to be the best player on the Rockets if they're going to win this series, in my opinion. He has to drop nearly 30 points per game. He has to be efficient when he's shooting the basketball. His shots have to matter, and they just did not in game 1. And that's ultimately why you saw Stephen Curry and Jimmy Butler take over when it mattered the most. The postseason comes down to superstars. Everybody in my comments, when I made a short video about I think Houston's in trouble because they don't have the star power and they don't have the playoff experience and resume like the Golden State Warriors do. And everyone's like, bro, you don't know ball. These young cats are going to show up. At the end of the day, postseason experience matters when you can take those big runs that Houston went on in the second half, or when you can take the runs that Golden State went on in the second quarter. You're more balanced, you're more level headed. And that's what Stephen Curry was talking about at the end of the game. For Houston, they weren't able to take that initial punch from Golden State. This lead really ballooned. They made it close in the second half, but Golden State was able to pull away. And I believe that championship experience was just so vital in those key moments. But we all know that Jalen Green has to be a lot better if Houston is going to have any chance in this series. I thought they did a good job defensively on Stephen Curry for the first quarter of the game, but sometimes he just gets loose and there's simply nothing you can do about it. And that's what it's going to be the problem for Houston, because sure, he had that one anomaly where he dropped 3 points and they were probably feeling themselves. They felt really, really good about their defensive coverage against him. And once he missed his first three-pointers, I was like, oh my goodness, Stephen Curry might put up a donut again. Like, this might be really tough on him. And he was able to break free. He hits those tough 3-pointers. There is just simply nothing you can do about it. And that's where the Houston Rockets find themselves at right now. They find themselves in a really tough situation, down 1-0 with little postseason experience. How can they take that first punch and try and bounce back in game 2? And for me, game 2 feels like an absolute must win. I don't see them stealing a game on the road in Golden State. They cannot go down 0-2, in my opinion, because even if they split on the road, they are not coming back from a 3-1 series deficit. So to me, this game 2 really feels like a must-win situation. But I want to talk about Golden State's defense here, because I just feel like that is such an underrated part of their game. They had the third best defensive rating in the second half of the regular season, and a big part of that was because of Jimmy Butler, what he brings on the defensive side of the ball. And of course, you have Draymond Green. In this first half, man, they really did a good job of stepping up on the defensive side of the ball. They only allowed Houston to score 34 points. The reason they were able to make that big run in the second quarter was not really because Curry kind of exploded or they were just able to have an offensive explosion. No, they held Houston to only 13 points. Like, if you can hold any basketball team to 34 first half points, you're in a really good position here. And that's ultimately why Houston had to do so much really catching up to do in that second half. And I mean, I know Golden State won by 10 points, but that really doesn't show the full outcome of the game, in my opinion. Houston got this really close. I want to say it got down to 3 points at one point, and Golden State was then able to pull away just because Stephen Curry was hitting some ridiculous shots. But man, Houston played tough in the second half. They've got to come out with some better offensive efficiency, and they've got to run the offense through Şengün. Jalen Green has to step up. And in my opinion, it's still a really interesting decision to watch that Steve Kerr is not playing Jonathan Kuminga at all, his third DNP in a row. If that's the case, Brandon Pajemski has to continue to kind of be that consistent third scorer as I watch the Golden State Warriors. We know what Jimmy Butler and Stephen Curry are going to give to this squad. They're going to step up when it matters the most. And that's why I believe that the Golden State Warriors are going to need this third scorer in Brandon Pajemski. And you had Jonathan Kuminga to fill that role, and he'd give you some solid scoring. He'd give you 15 points a game. But Steve Kerr clearly is going the other direction with him right now. So Brandon Pajemski has to be that guy. He had like an 8-game stretch where he was averaging 20 points a game. I believe he's playing his best basketball as we head into the postseason here, as we get deeper and deeper. But 14 points for him. He was plus 17 in the plus minus, had the best plus minus on the entire squad. I believe in Pajemski's defense. I believe in his 3-point shooting. He's just got to stay aggressive. Stay aggressive on that end. And if he is the Warriors' consistent third scorer, this team is going to be really, really scary. I believe the reason why that Grizzlies game was so close was because Pajemski didn't light up the stat sheet like we've seen from him over the past few games. He only had 3 points, was very inefficient. If Pajemski can give you 14 to 15 points a game, I feel like this Warriors team, they're just going to be absolutely unbeatable. And of course, that's when you have Draymond Green, who can occasionally knock down a corner three or two. And we didn't even see that in game one, but his defensive presence was so massively felt. He had those 3 big time steals, felt like he was breaking up so many different passes, had the block, but he was just a menace on the defensive side of the ball. Only put up 4 points, but we're not looking for scoring when it comes to Draymond. And Moses Moody, I felt he hit some big time shots as well, had a big 7 points that was just really, really needed. But for Golden State, can they get that consistency from the others? That's what I'm looking at if this team wants to truly contend for a championship. I have no questions that Stephen Curry and Jimmy Butler are not only going to show up, but they are going to rise to their playoff level. I have no question that the Golden State Warriors are going to beat the Houston Rockets in probably 6 games, maybe even 5. They're going to need Pajemski. They're going to need Moody. They're going to need Peyton. They're going to need sprinkles of these other guys to step up in big moments. And if they can get that key contributions, I believe that this team can not only pass Houston in this first round. I believe that they can get past either Minnesota or they can get past either Los Angeles in the semifinals and make it to the conference finals. But we'll see what they do to try and close out Houston here in this game too. Like I said, if they get this done here on the road, take a 2-0 lead, it is night. Houston, we officially have a problem. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for watching this video. My name is Caden Kubler.